I think if people get pissed at you enough, then they'll definitely come around to live shows so they can, give their opinion.
Yeah.
If people see that, it's actually a way for them to talk back to you.
Well, yeah, well, half the people that watch my videos and stuff, they don't like me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've even seen that in the chat room. Some of the people that come in here, they just don't like me. They love to hate me, but that's cool, man. I'm used to that. That's my life.
Havana moon, Havana moon.
And congratulations, you're listening to Blah 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 Atlanta, 26th of July radio. Of course, you know that if you came to the website and clicked that. And with me is Sally, my lovely, lovely co-host. How are you, Sally?
I am fine, John. Can I call you John?
What the hell were you calling me before?
I don't know. I figured I might need to call you by your YouTube handle.
Mexican? Why? No,
I
wait
don't know.
You've got me actually in like a weird... What the hell? Have you never called me by John before?
I have.
No, I don't know.
I have.
Oh, you have? Why'd you ask if you can call me John?
Well, I don't know.
You can call me whatever you want, but, I mean, John, that's my name.
Women in the workplace. Damn it, I already messed up the show. Okay.
No, yeah, but no, it's fine. I was just wondering, can I call you? Well, of course you can. Was it a joke?
Well, no, I forgot for a second. I was like, I didn't know if you wanted, to be anything more than the blurry Mexican on YouTube.
Even though my name in the chat room is John.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, no one actually.
What are you drinking?
Comes to the
Yeah.
water.
No one comes in here. You drinking water?
Yeah,
no one comes. They don't listen to the show. We were just talking about that, and of course I knew that it was an extreme danger. Now I think as it stands, and I'll try to flip over there while I'm talking. That video when I posted the show has got like 400 or 500 hits and views, and like 30-something comments, and I knew that if I ever did that, people would stop listening. They would stop listening to the show, and they would just wait for it to come on YouTube. And that's great, because that's what I want people to listen to it. However, I also want people to participate. I really can't stress that enough either, because it's like, okay, over here on the website, I got a chat room. I don't know how many people it can hold. Sometimes it freaks out when there's 30 or 40 people in here, but I hope it doesn't blast my ears out. And then you can call, obviously, the phone number that's over on YouTube. You can call the phone number that's here on the website. It'll bring you right up that I can put you on a conference. It's you and I and Sally, and then so that's one thing. And then I mentioned, of course, we can I think it'll come around where more people will want to come and participate. Maybe I should have posted the first couple of shows on YouTube, and then kind of let it work from there. But hey, I'm an idiot. I make mistakes, kind of like when I converted to Islam in August of 2001.
Oh no.
It's just a joke. But anyway, so yeah, and then I think getting a lot of suggestions over there too in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of suggestions for some of the things I should do with the show. Yeah, one of the suggestions was, oh, you should get people to call. And I am trying to find it now. I'm going down it's 543 views right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, the phone lines are open, and there is no way to
what?
screen calls, right?
No, you can call and say "fuck you," and then hang up. It doesn't matter, But whatever. But that's what I wanted. Not only the participation, but the element of surprise. Anything can happen. There are no rules here. The FCC is not my boss. So,
as it should be.
Huh?
As it should be.
No.
What?
As it should. Oh, okay, I get you. I'm sorry. You know what? I had to work today.
On a Sunday?
Yeah, because I took Friday off, and you apologized for not calling me. Well, I didn't call you either. It's because I've just had that kind of a weekend, and so yeah, I traded. I took Friday off and worked today because it's the only day. Our plant runs 24/7, and well, 24/6 now. We've gotten kind of slow, so it's shut down on Sundays. It was the only day we could come in and do any work on this one particular machine. That's a tremendous piece of shit. We bought it from Italy. Do not ever buy Italian machinery. If you're ever put in a situation where you got to buy some machinery, make sure it doesn't come from Italy.
Note taken.
Yeah. And then there's I've seen about 40 minutes of the show, and I have to say that though I like it, I think you talk too much and interrupt the girl sometimes. She barely has time to say things like and yeah for most of the time. That's true. But lighten up. Sally's pretty new, and I'm sure she'll come around, and she has been getting much better about interrupting me, and that's what it's all about.
I know. I just feel so bad for yelling at you sometimes, though.
Why?
Just like shut up.
Like I can't take it.
Well, I don't like doing that. It makes me feel really mean. Yeah.
Get mean. Get angry.
I need to put sticky notes up. Just yell. Just like mean things, so I'll get all angry and be able to play with the big boys. Because I don't know.
Well, playing with the big boys is, yeah, we can trade insults all night, but
No, well, I just feel like I'm so sweet sometimes, so I don't like interjecting.
You are a real nice guy. I'm just talking about, when we're talking about something. Here's the thing that I'll explain that, and I do that on purpose. I kind of take over, conversations, but what I'm taking over is dead air. If I say something and Sally doesn't pick up and start talking, I'll say something else. Because otherwise we'd sit here, and she might or might not have something to say. So unless you come right up, and you're quick on your feet, which I know that you'll get there. You may have listened to my first couple of shows or whatever, and I was just like,
yeah.
But you got to, and then you kind of get used to it. I'm a talker in real life. I talk a lot, even though I'm shy. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so yeah, you gotta carry. It's a goddamn radio show. What does this guy expect?
Right.
But whatever.
All right. Well, I just went on Wikipedia because it's easy and it's the best site on the internet. Besides YouTube, of course. Okay, so intellectual property. I brought that up. And intellectual property, it's just a state-granted legal monopoly on an idea. That's what
over
this site is all about.
Unique idea, your unique work.
Yeah, but what does uniqueness have to do with it, though? I don't see how that is.
It has everything to do with it. Because it's because many people do things like to survive and make money.
Wait,
and stuff.
so if you're so all for the protection of unique ideas and things like that, then why copy any sort of material at all? Like on your last video that wasn't the broadcast, you had the thing of the Saddam hanging from a cell phone. I'm sure you copied that from somewhere. And,
sure.
Then
it's free domain work.
And well, it doesn't matter if it's free domain or not.
Yes, it does, because there is such a thing as free domain.
It's a unique work, though, that
It is a unique work, but it was not released under the stipulation that it would be copyrighted.
Well, what's so special is about that? Is it just because the person who makes the unique work? Is it like if they choose for it to not be copyrighted or not? I just don't see how people can have power over something like that.
There's lots of free domain work out there. All my work's free domain.
Oh, yeah. I also pulled up this thing called the Free Culture Movement, which is a social movement that is against, at least strict copyright things,
Sure. Well,
and to know
copyright
about the
goes
internet
goes
for
too
that.
far sometimes. I understand that, and I don't argue against that. But doing away with copyright and patent laws, that's just retarded.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
Gosh.
And to be totally honest, if you were to do that, and we've had this conversation somewhat before, that
You would stand in my way.
you would totally discourage people from doing anything
Ah,
intellectual.
that is on here. As one of the main arguments given for intellectual property laws, which are state government which are state granted monopolies. Just keep that in mind, anyone.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah. Why is that irrelevant? It's
Because
a
you're
monopoly
just
on something.
anti-state, and you're just putting an exclamation point behind that statement. It doesn't mean anything. It's not state granted. It's just a goddamn law to protect you.
Well, it's state granted, of course. If it's protected by law, it's state granted.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. You're exclaiming that point, but it's relevant to the whole argument. All I'm saying is, jurors, strike that from your record.
Well, whatever. Okay. The basic public policy rationale of protection of intellectual property is that it facilitates and encourages the pursuit and disclosure of innovation into the public domain for the common good by granting authors and inventors the exclusive rights to exploit their works, inventions for a limited period. So this is saying that, like, the only reason that we have these laws that restrict people's property rights is to, and that sounds like a funny sentence to say because we're talking, and I'm talking about getting rid of some presumed property rights, but the only reason that we have these laws is to promote pursuit and disclosure of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good justification for legitimacy. It's a good justification for something if you were going to include the idea of a state and encourage the idea of a state. Something that's truly legitimate should stand without the backing of a state. But
it seems like it would, but think for a minute.
Oh.
About
Okay.
somebody produces this awesome, just epic novel. Yeah, they'll be recognized, right? And
Uh-huh.
fuck a novel like a CD. It's just epic. It's the biggest thing out since Abbey Road, from the Beatles. It's huge. And or the White Album, I forget what the biggest one was, but so it's fucking huge. Now everybody's gonna recognize, hey man, the Beatles, greatest band on earth, period, and they get all the recognition they want, except there's one asshole out there making thousands of copies and selling them for $1 a piece on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So now why would you go to the store and buy a copy for $14.95 because you can go and get it off eBay for $1?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Why would you?
Yeah, there'd be no reason to.
Yeah,
Now, okay, now what would...
There's absolutely no reason.
Now,
to.
now
Unless
part of
you
the...
feel like it.
Right, if you
like
just
wasting
want to do
money.
that to support the artist, and many people do that. But, not enough. If it were really that much of a free-for-all, that's exactly what people... Hell, I'd be doing it. I'd just be making copies of stuff and going out and selling it. It'd be, hey, you buy it $2, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's great. But what the hell is the Beatles' motivation for doing anything else like that? Or anybody's motivation for ever sitting down and putting together an epic, never-heard before record that is just going to blow the socks off of the recording industry?
Well, true artists
Do it.
True artists are kind of slaves to their work. So, I could never stop. I don't make any money with what I'm doing, and even if I never did, I would never stop. But,
Well, me either, I'll never end up, no one will ever offer me $3 million to really put some of my ideas out there.
Okay, well, I'm a
because
filmmaker.
that $3 million won't be there.
Uh,
What the hell kind of profit? Why would you blow $300 out of or $3 million out of your
I don't know.
ass?
It depends. See, okay, this is what I'm going on. I just wanted to say that because, artists can't, you just can't stop what you're doing.
And another thing is, talking about
hold on.
the Beatles go into the studio. Studio time costs money. It costs $300-400 an hour to record in the studio. Now, who the hell's going to pay for that?
I don't know. That's up to them.
Who's going to pay for the CD production, the distribution?
Well, see, okay, this is what I'm
And
gonna
where's
say,
all
like,
that money coming from? With just people that just wanted to blow the money the fuck away?
where does it come from in the first place? I don't know.
Well, right now it comes from studios that back up these artists because
All
they
right,
can make
yeah.
money because of copyright, because they own exclusively the copyrighted material that is contained on the CD that you buy.
Uh-huh. I'm thinking, I'm trying to be progressive here. I'm trying
Yeah,
to,
well,
to go forward with things. Let me talk, okay? If we got rid of the, artists getting their main market from selling CDs at insane prices, then they would be forced to find other ways to make money for themselves, like either through more merchandise or more, I don't know, something else, more shows, more, I don't know, just something interesting. There's always new things coming out, maybe something
Well,
with
sure, but
technology.
that
I don't know.
progress can't be done. It can't be brought about by just doing away with copyright laws. You can defeat
that's
the
not what
copyright because it
that's not
does
what I'm
tie into
saying.
what we were doing with. Well, you're talking about progression.
No. I'm not saying get rid of copyright laws to promote progression. I'm saying get rid of copyright laws because they're illegitimate and it's an invasion of people's personal property.
All right.
What artists choose to do after that is up to them.
Well, no, not really, because no one's going to pay for them to do anything else. They lost their ass last time. No one's
Last time lost their ass. Last time what?
Yeah, because I mean, you put $300,000 into producing a record, and then you don't make. I mean, you make $50,000 back. What the fuck are you going to do that for again? Unless I just got millions of dollars to spend, and like Brewster's Millions, I got to spend.
Maybe they'd be forced to make their industry more efficient. I know. I'm pretty sure the film industry.
No, because if you did away with these laws, it would be a spear. It would just kill the industry. It would dead. See ya. There's no motivation to change the prices because it doesn't progress from doing.
Go back to what you were saying. You were talking about leveling the playing field. Wouldn't that level the playing field?
I'm talking about the exact same
indie people would be huge if that happened. But I mean, I don't know if that would happen.
Well, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that leveling the playing field can't. I mean, copyright law questioning is not going to do it. All that's going to do is actually hurt the artists, because that discourages artists not only from making new work, but
no, hurt the artist as it is now. I mean,
it's hurting them. But a proper way to fight that is not doing away with their only protection. The copyright's there to protect the artist from the studio as well. If the copyright wasn't there, the studio could just get the artist in there and make a song for them and say, "Fuck you, we're not paying you. The fuck will we pay you for? This is free."
Copyright.
And fuck that. And while you're at it, just follow some of these indie artists around to the clubs. Keep your recorder there and make you a CD off of their set. And make money off of it.
Copyright is not what makes studios pay people who work for them. They give them their labor. I mean, studios kind of do kick people out and say "fuck you," but I mean, they have to pay them for their for their labor.
But you didn't listen to like what I just last said. Was that it?
Follow the indie musicians.
Sure, that's just an example of what exactly would happen because the copyrights protect artists from the studios, not us. And it doesn't protect us from.
Does the studio?
Because the studio could say, "Oh well,
the studio
I'm
owns
sorry,
copyright, though.
I'm sorry, I wasted your time and had you come in here and record this song. We don't want it." But then they turn around and sell it anyway.
Well, doesn't the studio own the copyright? The artist doesn't own the copyright. I know
sometimes
directors they don't own anything. The studio owns it all.
It's on contract. But what I'm saying is part of that contract is it has to do with copyright, and it's signed. The artist signs over their copyright right protection to the studio for a set amount of money, royalties, whatever, and that's what protects the artist. Their ability to barter with the copyright. They can sell that copyright. Mm-hmm. That's what protects them from just being recorded. This might just go to hang out by their garage and stick a microphone in. You get to record and you make a CD. These people might not even know you made a CD. That's fine. Fuck them.
I guess so.
They might be able to even prove that they produced it before, but it doesn't matter. There's no copyright law protecting them from that.
How could they produce it?
I mean, what I'm saying is you're
that
saying
was you on the track.
You're talking about taking rights away from some of the people that are actually producing the work.
I'm not saying take the rights away. I'm saying they don't have those rights, and legislating, making laws that
Why
say
don't they have
do.
those rights? They're working.
Okay, yeah, they have a right to work. They have a right to get paid for their labor, but they do not have a right.
How are they going to get paid for their labor when there's
hold on.
Their labor is something that can be distributed freely.
That's not their labor. That is.
Yes, it is. It's a product of their labor, just like a statue.
Okay, yeah. Well, don't you think that if someone builds a chair and then they sell it to someone, don't you think that person who bought it from them should be able to do whatever they want with it? Don't you think they should be able to give it to someone else or to trade it? What?
They can.
Yeah, well, why can't they do that with music? Why can't they do that with
They can, but
movies?
it's illegal.
Why? I'm saying that's stupid. That shouldn't be that way.
So you're saying that somehow
it's completely illegitimate.
Somehow that movies and music, these are not physical things. They don't exist.
DVDs are physical, but the latent image. I mean, if you're able to copy it,
it's like a safe. I mean, it's like a box. You know what's contained in there. It's like, all right, well, fine. And somebody sells you this box and say you push the box and it makes a sound, but don't open the box. You can't have what's inside.
Okay, I just remembered
because
something.
You understand and you agree whenever you purchase this box that what's inside is essentially ours.
Yeah.
And
that's
how
it is, and that's really, really dumb.
All right. All I'm saying is that you would very quickly destroy the motivation of, I don't know, 70-80% of artists out there from producing anything, because that's what they do. That is their job, and they are products of their labor. And if you want to take that away from them, that's fine. Then fuck you. I hope you become a slave.
What?
Yeah, because that's what you're turning them into, is slave labor.
No, because they have a choice to do whatever they want. A slave is at the mercy of someone else. And
you're talking about people that are artists.
Because
they slave to their music.
If you have rights, you can do.
They're going to do it for free or not, but under your system, they're going to have to do it for free. There's no way that they could ever make a living doing that. They'd have to do it in their spare time. It is a hobby. That's ridiculous.
Well, I don't know. There's plenty of ways that bands and artists make money without.
But here's the thing. We've been going around in circles about this for about 45 minutes. But here's the thing. What's your goddamn alternative?
Just open source everything. Just freedom of ideas. YouTube is just like that. I mean, and I think it works perfectly because you can download someone else's video and you can do whatever you want with it.
Sure.
And you can make copies of it, but that doesn't discourage people from making videos. It discourages a few people.
Because people do it for another reason. And you make a 5-minute video with little or no substance, it has no market value, then why wouldn't you give it away?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, none of this stuff has any market value. But whenever people are posting up The Daily Show, and so now people just come to the computer to watch clips of The Daily Show, there's marketing involved and commercials that come on in between. You're taking away their revenue because you no longer have to watch the commercials. You just watch your favorite clips.
So what? So
why would they continue to produce the show? Who's going to pay for the show? Right now, the commercials pay for the show.
So what? Are you saying that we should? Are you saying that if there's a way for us to get commercial-free television, we should ignore that because it's their right to force us to. I mean,
it has nothing to do with force. Somebody's got to pay for the show to be produced, Sally. Somebody's got to pay for that. And without money, there's no paying. You see what I'm saying? And the commercial revenue is what pays for the show.
Let me give you an example for why.
No, that's a pretty good example. I want to tell you I want you to tell me who's going to pay for the show.
Yeah, I could care less. honestly, I could care less. I don't watch
Okay, and
television.
I'm sure that you could care less. And that's the whole thing, is that apparently, all right, well, you don't want to watch any more TV, you don't want to read any more books, you don't want to listen to any more CDs or hear any decent artists, because you think that it's just totally irrelevant that somebody has to pay for all that. Therefore, you're not willing to contribute to, watching a commercial or whatever, because none of this shit should be protected anyway. I should get it for free. Well, fuck that. Somebody's got to pay for it. It takes money to produce things.
Well,
if I can't get the money to even produce something, I'm not going to produce it.
Look, if the market was forced to make things cheaper...
What market? That would destroy the market. It's not forcing a change by taking away copyright.
Okay, let me get back to legitimacy in the first place. This example, okay, it's very easy to see the distinction between intellectual property, legitimacy of real property, and intellectual property, okay?
Don't read a definition off a website.
I'm not going to read a definition off a website. This is an example. Not from a website, it's an example I came up with. Okay, well, say that, with real property, and real property, I'm talking about tangible. This is actually, I'm not just saying it's real because it's legitimate. With real property, like, say that there is a statue, right? And there's no way that you can go and pick up that statue and take it away. You can't just, with like, an exact replica of that statue being... Never mind, this example is not working out like I thought it would. The basic thing that I wanted to say, though, was that you can't own an idea. You shouldn't be able to own something that isn't tangible. All you're doing is controlling someone else's property after they've bought it.
Well, you're talking negatively about patents as well, and you include this into the thing. But here's the thing. All right, say somebody designs and manufactures an automobile.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, it's very easy to copy an automobile. It's done all the time. They like Lamborghinis. There are guys here in America that build the kits, and you can do that. See, that's where patent protection comes in. See, now somebody with the same amount of money, say, as Lamborghini has, liquid asset, they say, oh, you know what? I'd like to manufacture Lamborghinis too. So they do it in America, but they're able to do it at half the price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now why would you buy an original Lamborghini?
Exactly. Why would you?
Yeah, exactly.
All that does is
and then when they're so
progress, though. It's just
it doesn't stimulate progress because they've simply copied each other's idea, and then every next man that copies the idea is not going to make as much money as the guy before.
It forces them to make it cheaper if they want to profit, and to get it to you, to get it to the consumer.
Cheaper if they want to profit.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no. I mean, cheaper if they want people to actually buy their stuff.
Well, yeah, that's true. And then for every person that copies it, the price has to go down. Therefore, at a certain point, it becomes absolutely pointless to continue producing the car. Pointless. You're not gonna. There's no way that you can produce it for any less than this. And then to compete with the other guy who can produce it for the same, you got to have exactly the same price. Now everybody's producing the car.
Well, I don't think that would happen.
And then what happened to Lamborghini? Now they're out of business. Now that was a great company that built wonderful automobiles.
Well, if that was such a great company that bought such wonderful automobiles, then everyone should have bought from that. But
because they just wanted to spend $300,000 on one.
No,
just to feel better about themselves.
If they were such
when you could have bought one here for $75,000.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that because this company is so upstanding that we should put laws in place so they don't go out of business just because they're
It has nothing to do with them going out of business. It has to do with their ability to progress. It has to do with their ability to produce more because they're making enough money to put back into product research, development, all of those things.
It's a state-granted monopoly. Why can't people compete with one another for one idea?
You can compete with them, but design your own goddamn car.
Why? Why can't they just design better ways to produce the car?
Because what does that do for progress?
It gets things.
No, you're refining a pre-existing object.
So what? It gets things to the consumer cheaper. What? Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. That's anti-progressive. That's like we're no longer we're going to take everything that we have now and just make it better and not produce anything new. Nothing innovative.
I didn't say that. I just said that there is nothing wrong with...
You said that.
No, I didn't, because I'm just talking about this one example, and I think it's completely fine for people to try and take the same thing that someone else was making before, but try and make it cheaper.
That's not progress. It's financial progress.
Yeah, financial progress.
It's certainly not product progress.
Okay. Offer it to a consumer. We can sell you this car at this high price, or we can sell you this car for a couple $100,000 cheaper. Which one do you want? And are you going to be upset if we try and offer this to you cheaper?
But what that does, I don't think
do.
you understand. Look, the guy that's producing it so much cheaper is making less profit. Therefore, taking away his ability to innovate the process any further, because he no longer has the capital coming in, and all he can do is become a car salesman.
Or come up with a different idea that'll make him more money.
Yeah. That's the whole point. He should have did that to fucking begin with. If he was that unoriginal, he had to just copy somebody. He doesn't deserve to be in business.
I didn't talk about him. I was talking about if we're still going to the Lamborghini thing, I was talking about the Lamborghini people who have lost all this money to the other people who have started making their cars better than they can. They should come up with a new idea, a new way to make money.
Well, yeah, they could do that. The problem is they're not making any more money. It stops. When that guy produces that car at the lower price...
How do people innovate in the first place?
Because they were able to patent their goddamn product, but when you take that law away...
No, patents are not what cause people to be able to have the capital to make things.
Yes, it is. It's the consequence.
Something like a bank will give them money and they'll be able to.
The bank will give them money, but a bank won't give you money if you don't have an ability to patent your fucking idea. Because what kind of bank would give you money knowing that as soon as you come up with that idea, someone else is going to copy it and produce it for less?
The point is...
No. Explain that to me. How? That's what I'm saying. The ability to patent something means you can get the capital to back it up and build it.
That's not what patent means.
Yes, it is. That's what it is that you patent something. You patent a design, you patent an intellectual property. You patent these things, and then you can go to a bank and say, I've got a patent on this. I have the exclusive rights to produce it. Give me $2 million, and I can make back your 15% return every year. That's what banks are in the business for, baby.
To give people money.
To make loans.
To give money to people
and they would only give a loan to someone who has exclusive rights to produce something.
No, they don't. They give loans to homeowners all the time. They give loans to people who are
But it's not for the purpose of producing a product.
It doesn't matter. It
does.
It's up to the bank person or whoever has money. If it could be a fucking philanthropist.
No, what I'm saying is that if they decided to make a loan to somebody without a patent, I mean, they'd be throwing money down the goddamn drain.
Look, okay.
Hey, instead of loaning the money to them, let's go flush it down the toilet.
If the system if the system would suffer so incredibly badly, like you're saying, from
it would fucking collapse.
No. From restoring legitimacy, and taking away illegitimate invasion of property rights. If the system would suffer so much from that, then maybe there's a broken system in the first place, and it shouldn't even be like it is now.
What?
I mean, if it hurts so bad from restoring legitimacy, then
legitimacy. You keep saying that, but you're not putting it in any context. Legitimacy of what?
Legitimacy of okay. I've been saying it. Intellectual property is illegitimate because...
What I'm saying is that Lamborghini and that statue, that's an intellectual property, sweetie.
No,
They become a physical property, just like a book and a CD.
Okay, if you make it, yeah, but the knowledge of how to make it, that's what people own or whatever. That's what intellectual property is.
I don't own the knowledge to do anything. I don't own it. Somebody else can come up with it. But until I go write it down and patent it, it's free domain. Anybody. It's just a thought. Yeah, I mean, of course. Yeah, but I can't own what I'm thinking.
Okay, but after say you patent it and someone else sees it, and they find out how to make it, they cannot legally reproduce it because of these laws.
That's
and
right.
That is that's insane. That's illegitimate.
Why?
Because if they know how to do something, there should be nothing stopping them from putting their labor into it and making it.
They can purchase a license to reproduce the product.
Why, though?
They can buy a franchise from the producer of the product.
That's owning something that's not tangible. Like, you own the thought that's in their head, and so they can't enact it. They can't actually bring it into being.
They're bringing it. The original person that patented it, yeah, they brought it into being.
No,
It was
not
their
the
idea.
original.
They got there first.
No, not the original person. The person who just finds out how to make it. You know, they supposedly, you know, it's so wrong for them to reproduce something that they know how to make because someone made it before them. Why? Why is that so wrong? They're just enacting a thought that they had. And so what if it's not an original thought? They have it. They have every right to use their labor to make something with it.
Listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stop reading those websites of whatever website, especially with this stuff and that neo-capitalist stuff you came up with a little while back.
Agorist.
And sit and think about the actual consequences of some of these things. If you were to do away with some of these laws, really,
it doesn't matter if the ideology.
It matters.
If the ideology is flawed, just like the ideology of taxes is flawed.
It's flawed because it hasn't taken into account the economic impact of any of this.
Flawed. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ideology we have now. You know, the things that we use to back up this system of mercantilism, you know, that it's flawed. If it's so flawed, I mean, we shouldn't.
It is flawed.
We shouldn't keep it.
Well, we're not. Why do you think we download music and movies? We're fighting it.
You're fighting what you just spent so long arguing for.
Yeah, but I'm fighting the proper target. If you were to take away their copyright laws, there'd be nothing for the artists to sell. They couldn't sell it to the studio. Studio couldn't distribute it. I'm fighting the studios and protecting the artists.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Well, no, that's exactly what I want you to think about. Think about how that works.
But the studios are what own the... So, I don't know,
and they were purchased under contract in certain agreements.
Like, I don't really care who you're fighting for. It doesn't matter. I don't see it as legitimate.
But this is progress. We're changing the way that studios function. That's progress.
Well, yeah. So is.
But if you take away the artist's ability to produce any new work, then that's anti-progress.
Raising taxes is progress. I mean, progress can be for anything. I mean, yeah. In the turn of the century, they had the progressive movement, and I mean, I think that's progress in the wrong direction, but people still call it progressive. Progress is just whatever you throw something out that's change. Progress is
progress moves forward and makes something better.
Yeah, but better is a subjective.
Yeah, I suppose it is subjective. If you wanted fucking to destroy, people that are producing work, then okay, well then be progressive in that way. All I'm saying is, well, here's the thing: no one would ever do away with copyright laws and patents. That is anti-progress, and especially on the economic side, it would be so destructive.
If you do away with the state, it'll already happen. So that'll just be secondary for me.
Well, that's another thing. Do away with, But anyway, so we're at the 9 o'clock hour here, and I'll pick a song here to play for the break.
Okay, thank you, YouTube people, for listening to our rant, and please leave comments.
Yeah.
And tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I am insane as John thinks I am, and please look up the Gore.
I don't think you're insane. I just think, listen, I think that what it sounds like is that you read somebody's manifesto on one of these radical websites,
right.
and you're doing kind of what they did and not taking all things into consideration. I mean, it sounds great, of course, copyright, why should it be exclusive to anybody? It sounds great on paper, but when you start taking into the economic and social impact, then you're kind of like, wait a minute, because we still have to keep the artists' motivations in mind. We got to keep studios there, but you would take, I mean, just, it's like I said, just think about that.
What about the social implications of I mean, you don't really have to respond to this because it's about time for a break. But I mean, what about the implications of hindering progress by copyright laws, which it does?
No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, it encourages people to produce better and better work because they know that they can sell it at a higher price.
Sure.
You can sell it at a higher price because you own it exclusively. I mean, what would be the point? I mean, you heard a great song in a club, and you go and you make the same song and you go and try to sell it to a studio, and they're going to be like, well, this guy over here is offering it for this, so we'll take his. Fuck you. So I mean,
it should be the choice. I mean, it's a state-run monopoly, and monopolies are bad from any way you look at it.
It's a personal protection for artists. And people that invent things, and it should be there. It's protecting an individual right as someone that is producing something.
I don't think it's a right. Anyway.
Oh, I believe it's a right. All right, so we'll be back in a minute. I tell you, guy at work. Like 2 weeks ago, man, won $50,000 on a scratch-off ticket.
Wow.
I know. He went down to the lottery office, and he was, there's 40 or 50 people there, claiming winnings, and he ran into somebody he went to school with or something, and they had won $150,000 on a scratch-off, and they were kind of joking around. And they were like, "Well, I don't really know what to do with the money." He's like, "Well, you ought to give it to the poor," and the bitch wrote him a check for $5,000. Yeah, I was like, should I just go hang out at the lottery office and tell people to give to the poor, or are they going to do it like that? Because that was crazy. I was like, dude, he's a goddamn lottery winner. What are you giving him money for? I mean, it didn't make any sense to me either.
Yeah.
But anyway, ever since then, for like 2 weeks, I've been buying lottery tickets. He gave me hope. And of course, he went and bought a new car. That's the last thing I do. Lottery winnings. I don't know. Technology, health, politics. Pelosi has to deny. Yeah, I already read that. Look at tax cuts for middle class. That's fine. Joe Biden says he can run with 08 rivals. Richardson hopeful for Darfur progress. I mean, that's just weird that a New Mexico governor has been able to work with al-Bashir.
Does the U.S. back the president?
No. Well, no. Nobody does. I mean, that's the whole thing. No one's doing anything.
By working with him, what does he do? Like, what would he? What was that?
I don't know. I don't know what it means either. I'm just saying that no. I mean, al-Bashir, he just does his own thing. Nobody has any real diplomatic relations except for some of the Middle Eastern countries, and he's totally funding the war to wipe out the Darfur people. So I mean, that's just that entire situation is just sick to me, and I get pissed off every time I hear one of these celebrities. Oh well, let's care about Darfur. That's all they're saying, basically. Let's care and raise an awareness. What the fuck is awareness doing? Why don't you?
I know. Okay.
I'll tell any one of them, George Clooney or whoever. Hey, man, give me $3 million.
I'm gonna go off on a quick tangent if you don't mind. You'll probably want to join as well. Okay. So people, they always have these campaigns. Anything they care about, especially Africa. They have awareness campaigns, and I was actually a pretty huge part of or not a huge part. I was part of a campaign all across the country last summer that was for this program called Invisible Children, which was cool because they actually raised money themselves through sales of DVDs of this movie. And
Oh, they didn't have a right to do that, though.
No, they did. They made the movie. Whatever.
They didn't own it, though. I mean, they.
They did own it. They made the movie.
Oh, whatever.
What? Okay, so...
I said they made the movie. Well, you just validated my point. Go ahead.
They did all these, protests and things to raise awareness. And you're right, like, so many organizations, they just want to raise awareness. Not like breast cancer, because, raise awareness, whatever, for that. But when people are actually dying and starving and living in appalling conditions, you shouldn't be raising awareness. You should be raising action. Because what a lot of these things do, they raise awareness so people will lobby their governments to put it on a list of things to get around to sometime in the next 10 years. I mean, bureaucracy, it's not a fast thing. So petitioning your government to help something half a world away isn't gonna do shit. And if our government does get involved, I mean, we're not the best with foreign policy, so I don't even think that it helps any of these causes if the government actually does decide to get involved in these things people are screaming and yelling about. I think they need to just get off their asses and raise money. You're right. I mean, like, how many millions of dollars do movie stars have that they just kind of use to fuel jets to fly around and tour all these impoverished countries?
Well, they do the cargo drops, and they feed 2 or 3 villages, and all that's great and everything. But I tell you what,
so much more can be done. I mean,
of course. I mean, you could hell, you could
sustainable
move
industry.
the people.
Yeah. I mean, the places that are being they're becoming deserts and stuff in the slightly sub-Saharan region or whatever in Africa. That they're not really going to be able to sustain themselves there for very long. I mean, there's whole parts of countries that are just becoming completely useless. So, you have to get some sort of action going to help change people's lives and move them to more fertile areas and actually start sustainable businesses. So if you just throw food at people, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, except they'll be able to live horrible lives a little bit longer.
Right. I mean, we've been through the whole awareness thing with a lot of things, but when it comes down to is real white knuckle work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's when you get out and you actually do something, and it's kind of like, AIDS or something, or like you mentioned, breast cancer. All right, we can raise awareness all we like, but how much effect is it having doing on the bottom line? How much more money is going to research?
Well, research. I mean, but what I was talking about with breast cancer and AIDS and stuff like that, raising awareness actually. It does help because it's something that the individual can do for themselves.
Sure, they can go and get tested and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that it's limited because it's kind of like, all right, well, awareness only goes so far because we actually need to go and research how we can actually stop these diseases outside of personal responsibility.
Yeah, well,
we need to be able to cure them.
But then it's even more so when the thing you're raising awareness about is so far away and it's a lot difficult of it's a lot more difficult of a problem to solve.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, you can't see it's not in front of your face.
It's just raising awareness.
But it is the same thing even with those diseases. I mean, it's kind of the same thing because most women, they still don't do everything just because they're aware they could get breast cancer. They still don't do it, but it would be totally different if we could get more funds put into, or better scientists, better education, better this and that to get it into more research to actually get rid of these diseases.
Raising awareness about something that's not that can't just spring up. I mean, cancer can. I mean, whatever causes cancer, lots of things do. But with something like STDs and with AIDS, awareness is like really the most powerful tool besides next to a condom. But first you have to know.
Never ever wear two condoms.
Yeah, see, awareness. You have to be aware that latex melts when you rub it, right? So
No,
awareness
that's
helps.
not
with,
exactly
well,
what.
latex, it
Well, no, it
comes
it just makes it more prone to break if you wear
Yeah,
shit.
I learned that in sex ed, because that's where awareness comes into play. Awareness can really help with something like that, but with people starving in Africa, it can only go so far, and it can only do so much.
Well, the sex ed only goes so far when it comes to, like temptation and whatnot. Well, sure,
Yeah,
you know all the things you shouldn't be doing, but damn, do they feel good.
Yeah, well, there's implementation as well, but that can be dealt with a lot easier with the suburban high school kid than it can with a starving farmer.
Of course, yeah, and they should work into moving these people and stuff like that, because people don't have the means to do it themselves. I mean, they're kind of stuck subsisting, and at this point, they're actually just depending on these movie stars to come and throw them a bone from time to time.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you get on TV, and you got people, Angelina Jolie that keeps adopting the kids from wherever. It's like, well, all right, well, you're making a huge impact, because now everybody's going and adopting these kids. Well, fuck that. It costs too much money. It costs $20,000 or $30,000 to adopt one of those kids, but that's a drop in a bucket to Angelina Jolie. So that's
like,
not raising any awareness either.
Even if they went and they adopted a bunch of kids, it's like getting kittens from the pound. There's still a whole bunch of cats there that are going to die. I mean,
Well, exactly. But what I'm saying is
the whole
that
population.
one of the things where they say that raises awareness is that it encourages other people to go do the same thing. But it's like I said, for the average person that might even be willing.
Outrageously rich people with
right, they're the only ones that are going to be able to do that. They can't. The average person, that people that actually would want to, they would enjoy, to have a child with, but they can't afford it. They couldn't afford to do any of that.
Someone I've seen it in a couple of videos of people that I watch. They've been talking about the morality of intervening, like if you see two people, or if you see someone attacking someone else on the street, or if you see a hurt man on the side of the street, are you obligated to help him? Well, if you say yeah, then does that mean that you're obligated to help any hurt, helpless people, no matter where they are? Are we just as obligated to help someone who's down the street from us than someone who is, several thousand miles away from us? Because I think that we are. I think that you're a hypocrite if you say you'd help someone you see right by you, but you won't help someone you know is in so much worse of a situation, so much farther away.
But that's kind of complicated, though, because it's kind of like, no, I don't think you're obligated to do any of it. Fuck everybody. That's the way I think. But
okay, yeah, well,
it's kind of like I may be more inclined to help this person than that person.
You have the right to say, to do whatever you want. But like, if someone feels morally obligated, that's what I'm talking about. Morally, not. I'm not talking about rights or anything.
I think it's implied within general. The general moral consensus that, well, you're kind of obligated. That's the whole thing.
But morality, I mean, you can always say fuck morality. You can't really say fuck rights. But it's different. A lot of people would agree they're morally obligated to go help someone, and they would say that they would. Well, I think that they should do that with people who are hurting no matter where they are. I just think that if people actually think about it, then they either need to change their moral beliefs or they should get into action, because people really are in such bad conditions, and we just ignore them. I mean,
sure, yeah, I agree.
You're such a hypocrite. You're such a hypocrite if you've go give say you're a good citizen because you help every homeless person that you see, but
but it's a matter of means as well, though. I mean, I don't have the means to go and do what some of these people are doing.
But if you do have the means,
if you do, I would say that it's more implied.
And it's not like you have to work together. If a couple hundred people get together, take the summer off, or go do something, then I mean, just a little bit of proactiveness from people would go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really think that people need to get out their asses and start doing something instead of just raising awareness and petitioning the government to get around to it maybe sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
So that was my tangent. Yeah, completely disgusted with people at times.
Well, that's why I brought up the celebrities. Every time I see one of those assholes, knelt down to some starving African kid smiling, and, they got a whole write up in the tabloid newspaper about it. I'm like,
is that worse than the average everyday citizen who makes
well, it's no different.
Like $80,000 a year, not doing anything about it, not even doing anything about it.
No, it's exactly. But here's the thing: is that I can go and I can give $10 to a homeless guy up here, and then George Clooney goes over there and buys everybody food. When you do it at your means. I can only afford to do this. He can afford to do that. So so I'm. I feel morally obligated to do it on my level, and I feel that he should do it on his level, which I don't think that a lot of them are.
Yeah, but
they get together and they make they talk about it and they join forces or whatever that means, and you get 5 or 6 celebrities talking on TV about it, but it's like give them some of your own goddamn money or rally up some people, pay some people if you have to go over there and work. That's fine, and so it's kind of like at their means, if they really feel that strongly about it, they want to dedicate 25% of their year to flying around doing that kind of thing. All right, I mean, great. They're more zealous about it than I am, so therefore you should give 25% of your income from that year to it.
For something I just thought of, for people who don't have the ability to go and actually do work or contribute a large amount of money to a crisis area. One great thing that I see sometimes is the most powerful thing that someone can do is to give unindustrialized places your business, because it stimulates growth and it puts more money into their economy. There's different places, like the Invisible Children program. They have bracelets and T-shirts and things that are made by the people in Uganda, which is what the foundation is mostly focusing on right now. And they're made by the people there, and they're made in the traditional style. And you can buy that, and the money goes to them entirely. And one bracelet, it's kind of an inflated price, but it's $20 for a bracelet and a small DVD. But that puts a kid in school for 2 weeks or a month, I think. And if you're going to buy jewelry anyway, if you're going to go do something anyway, might as well pay a little bit of a higher cost, and do something good with it than just give up.
Yeah, but
see, a lot of people see problems as so big that they just give up on things.
Yeah, you do away with the copyright on that though, and then anybody can just make the jewelry and the DVD and sell it for half price.
Can make the jewelry and DVD and stuff. That's why you have to go buy it from their website.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that why would you go and buy it from their website if you can just get it for half price?
Because that website goes to the African. I mean, sure, if another city of Africans wants to make that bracelet, then they can go ahead and make that bracelet.
Mm-hmm. But they're taking school away from a child.
See, this is
for a month. No,
because why wouldn't that money go into their economy?
Well, it did go into their economy, but it doeses't go for the same purpose. The motivation for putting a child through a month of school isn't there anymore.
You just
yeah, it does, because it protects their ability to do that for a child exclusively, to sell this particular DVD and this bracelet. If someone copies that, then exclusivity goes away, and all of a sudden that child.
Well, if they say it's from Invisible Children, then that would be fraud. But if they just sell a DVD and a bracelet, then they can go ahead. But it's up to the consumer
they say
to
it's
decide,
the same
to
thing
decide
you
what
see.
they buy. I mean, consumers aren't complete idiots. So I'm talking about actually being conscious about what you're buying.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
sure. I mean, there's always the population that'll go and buy it exclusively from them because they want to contribute to that cause.
That's what I'm talking about. And there's things you can get, like, I wish I had a list. I wonder if there's a list somewhere on the web of charity type of household products, 'cause I think that would be a great thing if, like, to stimulate industry and things in, unindustrialized crisis type, just extremely poor areas, if they started making household goods, which sounds kind of messed up though, now that I think about it. I mean, it sounds great because it gives them industry, but I'm sure you would have a fit with it. Like, these poor, I don't like using the term third world, I've heard it's off color or something, but third world countries, you know, making, like, sheets and stuff for rich Western homes. I don't know how you would feel about that, but...
Well, they do that now. I mean, you know.
Yeah, they do. But what if, like, I don't know, refugees started making it in like, Sudan or Pakistan or something, I don't know, started making...
I mean, if they're
baskets
getting paid and being productive, then
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great industry, and I think people should do that more often.
Well, sure. You probably, I mean, that's a pretty good idea. You need more third-party carriers that, you know, would advertise it, market it here,
Yeah.
and saying, hey, you know, you buy this and you do this, you know, and here's your certificate, you know, and you know, and that's a pretty good idea. More things like that should be done. I would be much more inclined to buy a pair of pants, you know, from one particular person if I knew that, you know, somebody made it and it's decent quality and it put a kid in school.
It definitely, I mean, like, the Western world, I mean, if we don't feel inclined to do anything more than go along with our regular lives and buy and consume and throw things away and pollute the world and not worry about anyone else, then we should at least buy things carefully, you know, if we don't feel like sacrificing, like, some time. I used to want to join the Peace Corps a lot, like, a lot, and, but then I turned into an anarchist, and it's funded by the government, and I hate the government, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to try and find a non-governmental organization. But,
you know, wait a minute, wouldn't that defeat the purpose of trying to find a non-governmental organization? That's a bit oxymoronic.
Wait, are all organizations funded by the government? Maybe I just...
It has nothing to do with funding by the government, because they're an organization.
What, I don't know.
The government's
I
just an organization.
No, the government is an illegitimate organization, though, because they profit from taxes,
what makes
enact
your
laws
organization
about it.
legitimate?
Because my organization...
And how is it an organization if it's anarchist?
Voluntary? Well, you can still have...
No.
I mean, I didn't...
That defeats the purpose
Anarchist
of being
means,
anarchist.
It means no government and no initiation of force, which is what government is.
Well, but don't you think
can
an
still,
anarchist organization would initiate some amount of regulation?
No, only over their property.
Well, that's what the government does. Their property is, you know, money and
Is
laws
their property you? Because they enact laws over you. So, are you the government's property?
Okay, but regulations and things that the anarchist organization come with, they would enforce it over you.
No,
they would by telling you their ideals and you participating in it. They're putting it on.
I freely associate with them. All I'm talking about is
sure,
universal.
yeah, you can come and go because you know.
Yeah, but you can't in the government. You can legally buy a piece of property, you know, but they can still do whatever they want with it. It's like the government is like a higher ruler or something, and we're just renting property from them, even though, you know, they're giving us the right. The eminent domain is a perfect example of that, you know, just the government going in and stealing property.
Sure.
You know, taxes is a little bit of a complicated one to get across to people because they've been paying them their whole lives, but eminent domain is an easy, glaring example of how the government is just the initiation.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just stealing,
but
and they have higher.
The problem
rights,
is, if you just do away with the government, then everything would become retarded, ran by anarchists. It wouldn't
Of course it would be run. Of course, if you did away with the government, everything would be run by anarchists. That is a highly preferable system. Whether or not things would be retarded.
No, they'd be retarded because there'd be no regulation over corporations.
Okay, so we'll get back to that. I don't feel like touching on that tonight because
we won't. I'm just saying that. All right, well that's great and everything, but the government must be refined. I mean, you have to refine it. You can't just burn it down.
Well, all anarchists are libertarian. Well, okay, all anarchists that believe in property are libertarians. So yeah, sure, let's go with the libertarian thing. Whatever.
All zoodles are ziggles, and all waddles are ziggles. So, are waddles zoogles?
Okay. Anyway, so organizations can still exist. Organizations are voluntary, alright? See, voluntary. Unanimous consent, alright?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get too alarmed. There would still be, there'd still be people interacting with other people. Okay, so I wanna find a non-governmental organization like the Peace Corps. But anyway,
all I'm saying is that at a certain point they would become governmental organizations, at least on a local level. And the people within that locality would have no choice but to participate or leave.
No.
How else is the goddamn place going to function? That's been my question. Every time we talk about this, I always ask you, well, how's it going to function? How does anything function if there's absolutely no laws, no regulation?
Look, I can't explain everything perfectly because
you should be able to before you argue its point.
Can you explain everything perfectly? I don't think you can.
No, I can't. But I speak on things that I understand fully.
I understand these things a lot. I'm striving to understand things as much as possible. Anyway, don't just rely on me to get information about.
I'm not relying on you. I've spoken to anarchists before, and I think they're crazy.
Well, don't just. Oh, see, they go crazy. See, you got. I'm co-hosting with a crazy person.
No, I'm not just saying you're crazy, Sally. I'm just saying that the idea itself is not thought out. I think that it is one of the more.
Have you done anything besides just talking to people about it? Have you done any research on the matter?
No, I don't need to do a whole lot of research. I've gotten so many. Here's another thing about the anarchist movement, if you can call it that, is that everybody has their own individual ideas. There's no one place you can go and get the breakdown of how any system's supposed to work because they're anarchists. That's what they believe in. So it's like, all right, well then what the hell are you people doing?
Wait. So
what the hell do you want?
Freedom?
That's why I ask you, and this is what I always ask every other anarchist I ever speak to. I'm like, okay, well now how's it going to work? And they're like, I don't know. That's what they always say. It's not because they're stupid and they haven't thought it out completely. I'm sure that they've thought out their immediate line of thought, but what they haven't done is taken anything else into consideration other than we must get rid of the government. All right, well then fine, get rid of it. Now, how's everything else going to work? Who is going to regulate anything?
No, there would be no regulation because regulation is just restraining property rights. That's all. People should be able to do. People should be able to do.
And the people can do whatever they want to do. That's fine.
People should do whatever they want without violating the rights of anyone else. As long as they don't violate the rights of anyone else.
That's fine. But when you get an organization that becomes powerful because they haven't been regulated ever, then they can become a government. They can say, hey, we're building a community now. People move in, and we're going to govern this place.
The moment they start to invade someone else's rights, those people should defend themselves. People shouldn't be pawns. People should never, ever, ever let themselves become pawns.
We're getting a call here, all right?
Really?